it himself. Gets away from 3 Ipswich defenders and finds the bottom corner.
Morrison, that's classy. And that's number 4 for Queen's Park Rangers. That is quite something from Nana Manoa.
What a terrific goal by Matt Phillips, made entirely on his own. Looking for Austin, who brings it down and shoots and scores. Charlie Austin opens the account for this evening with a brilliantly taken goal.
Richard Dunn volleys home his first goal for QPR, and they're back in front. They needed something, and Jermaine Genus has stepped up and provided it.
A header and a goal! And in a minute by Charlie Austin. He's come back from injury and he's won it for QPR.
As far as Carl Henry goes for goal! What a strike by Carl Henry!
QPR hit the front again. It's a lovely goal from Junior Hoydett. More than 1,000 Rangers fans brought to their feet by that brilliant moment of skill from the QPR wide man. 70 seconds playing, and Queen's Park Rangers lead. It's Krumov Forest, and it's party time for QPR, who found their mojo as they head to the playoffs.
Carlisle through the middle for Paul Furlong. Away from Hall. Furlong! He's got Zamora forward with him. Morrison's there as well. Pokes Zamora. Back it comes to Austin. Can he finish? Yes! He can! What a goal from Charlie Austin! What a breakout from Queen's Park Rangers! The main man is back, and just in time perhaps for the playoffs.
Welcome along to London Calling. This special London Calling, of course, as we look back on our success here at Loftus Road against Wigan Athletic on Monday night. We're going to be joined live by QPR manager Harry Redknapp as he looks back on that victory against the Latics and, of course, ahead to Saturday week's playoff final against Derby County at Wembley Stadium. We're also going to be joined, well, we're going to hear, from Clint Hill. Ours captain Clint Hill spoke to us earlier today. A really interesting interview from Clint. That's all coming up. But I suppose the important thing is we haven't won anything yet. There's a long way to go. We can't get carried away.
Come on, aren't you going to cheer?
Yes! With that.
Here we are.
Absolutely unprofessional. Incredible. Incredible. On top of that, we've got a great competition prize. This, incredibly, is the actual shirt that Charlie Austin wore when he prodded home the winner against the Latics on Monday night. You can own it with a personalised message from Charlie of your choice. Quite an incredible prize, I think you all agree. We've got details of that coming up right here on London Calling, brought to you in association with Equate.
Crete is a natural energy drink containing only natural ingredients, fruit juices, ginseng, guarana, green tea and just a nip of natural caffeine from the green coffee bean. And there's enough fruit juice in each can to give you one of your 5 a day. Need a natural lift? Try Equate.
Well, Ian, Brian, how are we feeling?
Well, it's a smile from here to as far as you can. I think any QPR fan at the moment is above the clouds, you know, with the satellites at the moment.
Yeah, I'd agree. Obviously, it's been a hectic few days since, but yeah, everybody's in good spirits. But like you said, we haven't done anything yet. We've just won a 2-legged affair against Wigan, but the bigger challenge lies in wait now.
And you look at the celebrations, we'll talk about the actual match in a moment, but you look at the celebrations at the final whistle, the celebrations were celebrating the fact we've got to Wembley. It's been a 28-year wait. You look at Derby County's celebrations when they were victorious over Brighton, there was obviously everyone running onto the pitch at the end of that as well. It's merely a celebration of reaching the final.
But the conclusion of the season at home as well. It's the conclusion of the season at home, because traditionally last game of the season, you're going to run out on the pitch anyway. So it was coupled the two together, made it that little bit more special.
Well, firstly, details of that competition we spoke about. You can win, as I say, the very shirt that Charlie Austin was wearing when he prodded home that winner against Wigan Athletic. And the question is quite simple. I'm sure many of you will know the answer. What we want to know is, where did Charlie Austin put this ball to level? Was it to the goalkeeper's right? Was it to the goalkeeper's left? So as the goalkeeper was standing, did it go to the goalkeeper's right or to the goalkeeper's left? Tweeters using hashtag LCI. You just have to tweet right or left, or tweet both. Hey, that's not a bad shout.
Yeah, you
tweet
can't go wrong, can you?
Cover all options. Tweeters, and towards the end of the show, we'll pick a winner. And as I say, you will own this very shirt, and it'll be personally signed by Charlie. So, well, without doubt, the best prize we've had on London Calling this season, and it is aptly timed after
Extended
the best
season.
moment of the season. Let's remind ourselves what happened when we took on Wigan here on Monday night.
Rangers, who finished 4th in the Sky Bet Championship table, 7 points better off than Wigan in the final reckoning. But as we saw, absolutely nothing, Andy, between them in the first leg. Do you expect more of the same?
I do. Looking at the managers, the teams they selected, there's much more attacking intent in both sides. I think playing that first leg, both managers knew it was all about tonight.
Goes to Shaw. This is McLean. Really good ball in, and the breakthrough comes from James Birch. 9 minutes on the clock, and Wigan hit the front. O'Neill. Has he got enough on that? McLean steals in, and Green goes to ground. Mark Clattenburg, what's he going to give here? He's going to put McLean.
Well, this is a fantastic decision, I feel, from Mark Clattenburg.
Still plenty of hoops in that box. Superb skill from Kranjcar, a drive, and Carson gets it well wide. Barton's corner, Charlie Austin, and a combination of McLean and Carson got it off the line.
Well, this can't have been easy for Scott Carson. It's a powerful header, difficult for Charlie Austin to actually get to the ball. He knows where Charlie Austin is and wins the header.
Hoylett now, excellent angle on that. And Carson, under the circumstances, did well. Espinosa. Oh, here's McLean! Big save from Green, back off the outside of the post. You can't help but think that is a huge moment.
Well, what an opportunity. Rob Green is out of contract at Queen's Park Rangers at the end of the season. I'd say
Hoylett. Zamora. Hoylett. Now he was caught. Penalty. A wonderful zipping move driven by Junior Hoylett.
he scored 18 this season. So make it a very important number 19.
Charlie Austin keeps Queen's Park Rangers season alive. Probably the biggest pressure penalty he's faced in his career, and he coolly slots it home.
Well, he never really looked like missing, did he, Junior Hoylett?
Oh, it's into the roof of the net. Goodness gracious me. Bobby Zamora had 3. Hoylett. Junior Hoylett. Joey Barton! What a save by Carson. Zamora helps it off for Charlie Austin! All season, Charlie Austin has been the main man. And he might just have bought Queen's Park Rangers a ticket to the biggest game in Championship football.
And out of pretty much nothing, well, you can't be surprised that it's Charlie Austin that's grabbed this, what could be killer third goal in the game. He's just really helped on by Bobby Zamora, but Leon Barnett gets caught on his heels.
Don't know how much added time is to be played. Kiernan, deflected, oh, wide.
Goodness me, by the reaction of Rob Kiernan, this must have been mighty.
Everybody's going through the severest of emotions here. Back into the mix. Ravel Morrison was on the line. Richard Dunn hurling himself at it. And there's the full-time whistle. There's the Wembley elation for Tony Fernandez and Queen's Park Rangers.
A season where promotion was almost demanded given the resources here.
Deserve the win, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Over the 2 legs, certainly, and certainly on Monday, 100%.
Brian, do you think that the early goal from Wigan, I know their players said so afterwards, alluded to it, that perhaps the goal, scoring it so early, actually worked against them? Do you think that affected their game plan, Perch scoring after, 9 minutes?
Well, it must have. It obviously did, because they didn't get any more goals. So the answer was probably yes. At that time when they scored, it was at that moment I was beginning to get a little frustrated that we didn't nick something up at the DW, because you know how keen I was for us to come back with something. And I did think from then on, I think, you know, for the first 20 minutes I was a little concerned with our performance.
Because, you wonder whether there's that natural desire to protect what you have in those situations.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
and they were winding down the clock, weren't they? They were time wasting from the minute they scored.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, right from the start of the second half, it was really noticeable.
And I think that frustrated the fans and got the fans going. I mean, the fans, we'll touch on that later. They're incredible.
Yes, yeah.
But I think that just highlighted the desire in the terraces, the desire on the pitch as well. And obviously, we got the result we wanted.
And normally, you almost concede that when you play Wigan, they will have more of the possession than you will.
It wasn't like that at all.
Wigan had 42% possession.
I was looking at it because we had the monitors in front of us at times. You know, in the first half, you're going on an overall, but it was like a 65% at one time, and it was all QPR, and you could see it. And you're right. After they scored that goal, maybe they took their foot off the pedal a little bit with regards to trying to push forward. And as Ian was saying, you know, they were time wasting an awful lot. So many, you know, trying to knock those seconds off. But, you know, you've got Mark Clattenburg as a referee. He doesn't fall for those tricks. No,
well, you talk about Mark Clattenburg. He made a very, very important decision with regards to McLean. Well, he didn't tumble over Rob Green. He didn't connect with Rob Green. Gary O'Neill's underweighted back pass. McLean came in. And I have to admit, when the referee blew the whistle,
you thought, didn't you?
I think I was one of them. I think a lot of people in the stadium thought, "Oh crikey, he's given a penalty here."
It's a great decision though, because he's running at full tilt, McLean, and I mean, you look at him here, like he's running at full tilt, and Rob, to be fair to him, comes out, narrows the angle, and then just pulls away. He doesn't even pull away his leg because he just dives.
Yeah, I mean, what I don't understand is he could have stayed on his feet and tapped into an empty net.
And it's 2-0, and it's game over probably.
Absolutely. Then you got to score 3
any
goals
other referee
against
could have seen it slightly different.
I must say, I thought Clattenburg
was phenomenal. Absolutely. Yeah. Again, he's been very good with us, lucky with us at the Oldham game. I know we go back, and he's been a good referee for us. And it's you know, there's been a few bits of controversy about him this season, but I've liked him as a referee. He sees the game, he describes the game. You know, when he makes
his decisions. I don't think he got a single decision wrong.
No, he certainly got all the big decisions right. Even with the Rob Green said afterwards on the official website, he said that Gary O'Neill's back pass actually helped him. He said because it was such a bad back pass, at no point, he said, was I going to be able to actually challenge for the ball. He said if it was slightly better back pass, he said I might have had a decision to make about trying to get there first.
And given away that penalty.
Had given away a penalty. He said from straight away I knew I wasn't going to get there. He said it was just a case of blocking his path but making sure I didn't connect with him. And again, to think that coldly and that clearly in a split second in such an intense atmosphere is credit to Rob Green, and his experience obviously paid off for QPR in that incident, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think Clattenburg deserves praise because you look at the goal, he gave them their goal, he gave them the advantage. There was a foul, wasn't there? Yes. But he gave the advantage. They made the most of that advantage, and throughout the game he was playing advantages. He was trying to let the game flow. Some people were saying maybe Niko was lucky to get away with a second yellow, but I think he refereed it like it was a Premier League game.
In fact, you find when he referees a game, you actually watch him as a referee. You know, a lot of referees sort of fade away into significance sometimes, but when Mark Clattenburg actually refs a game, you actually watch him as well.
No, he did very well. In terms of the team selection, I think there were a few raised eyebrows when Ravel Morrison wasn't in the side. Obviously, Niko Kranjcar, Kevin Doyle came in, Armand Traore missed out owing to injury. We'll talk about the injury situation later on. But what did you make of the change? I think a lot of people saying, well, hang on, why is Ravel not
Yeah, well, we heard, as we tend to do, we had a few hours, didn't we, before the teams were actually released, and we were having a chat in the office and we were thinking, oh, God, I don't understand this one, because Harry seems to have, I might be speaking out of turn here, but he seems to have maybe formed his team around Ravel to try and get the best out of Ravel. And then that was a curveball, wasn't it? But
I don't think we got the best of Ravel on Friday, and I think it was as a result
but never,
of that.
It was a brave decision, but
I did say on the lunchtime
decision.
show on Monday that I wasn't, I didn't think Ravel would probably be starting. And
I don't remember you saying that.
I'm sure I said it.
No, I'm sure
you should watch it again. And I just didn't think and I think,
But he got it right, didn't he?
He got absolutely right. Niko was
his best performance in a QPR
absolutely,
shirt.
yes.
As well as that man there who's just walked out the screen there, Joey Barton as well.
If you watch Joey, he was everywhere. That game meant so much to him. And again, I was saying again, we've been saying a few times in the programmes. This time last season, he didn't want us, and we didn't want him. Now we're just one big happy family.
Yeah, and well, you mentioned that, and I think it was something that really stood out at the end of the 90 minutes and during the break and extra time. Exactly that, the happy family, the togetherness. When it went to the huddle, and you can see it there, it's not just the team, it's the whole management are there, the coaching staff, the masseurs, the doctors, they're all in there. Obviously, Clint Hill was off the pitch at this point, he'd been subbed for Yoon, and it was taken by Joey Barton. And I remember at the time looking at our players forming the huddle, and then I looked at the Wigan players, and they were just stretching almost individually, looking at our huddle. And I thought that was really interesting.
I must admit, I know it was still 15 minutes to play, and you look at Rob Keane and chance which is deflected late on. But once I saw that at half-time, when you saw our huddle and their almost individuality, there was a team spirit there, and I thought, they look gone to me. I thought, I'm bloody confident now that we'll get the job done.
Well, this is it. And also, you look back over the last year, 18 months, the lack of togetherness has been our Achilles heel, and now the togetherness has turned into our greatest strength.
Yeah, very much so. And it's not just, people will talk about Joey, they'll talk about Clint, they'll talk about Richard Dunn, Rob Green, leaders, aren't they? Leaders are men, but I think everybody in the squad, Junior Hoylett came of age, I thought.
It was a collective performance,
defensively, Hoylett, he's not renowned for his defensive capabilities, but in both legs, defensively, he must have covered so much ground. He was outstanding.
We were talking about the team selection, and last week we were asking on Monday, we were saying pick your starting 11 for the game on Monday night, and actually on the Monday and then in the lead up to it, I tell you what, I'm glad it's Rob Green between the sticks and not Ian Taylor.
As he drops
on
the
the Thursday and on the Monday, both team selection from London Calling viewers dropped Richard Dunn and brought Yoon Suk Young in. And Yoon did very well when he came on, but the performance of Richard Dunn, particularly in the latter stages and well into extra time, was absolutely outstanding.
I thought he did very well. I mean, he after about 70 minutes, I thought, oh God, he's tiring here. And I think by then we'd made the majority, if not all of our changes. But the last 10 minutes of normal time, the last 10 minutes of extra time, he was colossal.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like he found a second win from somewhere.
Well, they did. I mean, you'd think it was a hard-fought game in the first 90, and you think it's all right for us sitting in the stands, but they've got another half hour and the possibility of penalties, and what goes through their mind. They've got to be as alert as they were in that first 5-10 minutes, and Richard's a little older, and he lasted that whole 120 minutes, and it was a fantastic performance. But it was a fantastic performance. I know it sounds cliche, but by the whole team, though.
Just to say, keep the interaction going on Twitter. We've had plenty of you having your say on the penalty and the competition. And just a shout out to Christopher Waite, who's going in for an operation. He said, going in for operation, not looking forward to it, but I think I put my QPR shirt on for the op.
Best of luck with that, Christopher. Just a reminder of the competition. This here is the very shirt that Charlie Austin was wearing when he scored our winner against Wigan on Monday night. We've got a question for you. All you need to tell us is, did it go to the keeper's right or to the keeper's left when he scored? I think everyone can see that penalty in their mind's eye before he strikes it now. We've all seen it so much. Keeper's right or keeper's left, just tweet us using hashtag LCI and right or hashtag LCI and left. And at the end of the show, we'll pick a winner at random who'll win this shirt and also have a personalised message from Charlie for you as well. So that's all to come, a fantastic competition prize, and there's obviously a lot of entrants for it as well. With regards to the game on Monday night, when we were ticking over the 70-minute mark, it's still 0-1. Did you fear it was going to be one of those nights? We're having chance after chance.
Yeah, you just felt it. Again, you did, as you say, at the 70th minute, you start thinking, hang on, things aren't just going right. And it's going to be one of those nights. Our season's coming to an end now. And
I didn't actually. And people say, well, you can say that now in hindsight. But I just thought that the crowd were that loud. I mean, people talk about the 12th man in sport, don't they, and how key it can be. But, I actually think that we stayed in that game ultimately because the players had given everything for the first 60, 65 minutes. They were battering on the door, weren't they? Throwing everything at them. And then there was this surge from the crowd with 15, 20 minutes to go. And I think that played a massive role. I really do.
Rob Green saying
it can't be undervalued.
Rob Green was saying it's the best atmosphere he's ever played in his 18-year career. And,
well, we interviewed loads of the guys afterwards, didn't we?
Welcome to Loftus Road. I mean,
and everybody, all the players, all the fans, all the players, all the staff were saying that was incredible.
Yeah, it's probably the best atmosphere I think I have experienced. You know,
as good as Oldham, I know.
Oh yeah, Oldham was just the last few minutes when we scored.
That was the 120 plus.
Yeah. Yes, and of course, you know, we had the emotions with the Leeds United, with the points not being deducted. That was the emotional side. But I think last night, Monday night, was the night. I think it beat Chelsea. It beat them all hands down.
We're going to be speaking with Harry Redknapp later on in the show. We'll be speaking to him very soon to get his thoughts on what was a memorable night at Loftus Road. And what is also interesting, you speak about the players afterwards talking about the atmosphere. It's something that is still been spoken about down at the training ground amongst the players.
I mean, we were down there today, weren't we?
In general conversation in the corridors, they're still talking about how good the atmosphere was.
Well, you look at the clip we've just shown there when Charlie's second goal goes in and it's bouncing.
Yeah, it's like the camera's
shaking.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the guys, some of the guys that were doing the camera work afterwards, and I said, you know, what was it like up on that gantry? And they said it was shaking.
They were shaking, yes.
You could feel it. And I spoke, my brother-in-law was there, and he said when that second goal went in, you almost felt the stadium swaying on its foundations. Which is,
a worry.
I mean, when we do eventually leave this place, you know, that is, and I think Tony's well aware of it. That is something we need to take.
Designing the acoustics has got to be designed so well.
That is something that's absolutely integral.
But those players that were playing on Monday night have experienced something that we've spoken about as fans for years, and they've experienced it now, and that's something they'll take on.
Flipping it then, what's the reason that that atmosphere isn't like that every game of the season?
Yeah, well I mean,
ask the fans.
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it? I mean, everyone knew the importance of that individual match.
But I'd love to see more of that next year. I really would.
Yeah, and I think it did work in the Premier League season in the final few games when we did stay up. I'm delighted to say we have now been joined by QPR manager Harry Redknapp. Harry, thanks very much for joining us.
Paul, no problem.
Firstly, we're just looking back on Monday night. Have you come down from cloud nine, although you did seem to be very measured at the end of it all?
Yeah, it was a great night. You know, it was good. The fans were fantastic and a great atmosphere. And to come back from one down, I thought we showed a lot of character, really. It was, you know, Wigan are a good team. I think, you know, I've been saying for 4 or 5 months now, I always felt from the start of the season, in fact, I always felt Wigan were, you know, if we weren't going to be there, I thought Wigan certainly would this year. And, you know, you looked at their results. They won at Mate. They beat Man City away. They drew with Arsenal after 90 minutes at Wembley. You know, to come back from 1-0 down and beat them as we did, I thought was a fantastic performance.
And it's always felt on a night like that the first goal could be so important. How concerned were you when that went to Wigan so early on?
Yeah, I was concerned. Paul, I'd be a liar if I sat and said I wasn't. They started very well. They were bright and they looked sharp. You know, they had real pace up front with McMenamin. You know, they were definitely a big threat. You know, but I felt after 20 minutes or so we got to grips with the game, and I felt from then on I always felt we just about we had the edge in the game without a doubt. I thought we were the better team, and with our own support there, I think that pushed us on as well. It was so, you know, it was a real great cup tie. I felt it was like a you know, it was a knockout game if you like, both starting levels. So, you know, it was a real cup atmosphere to the game. It was excellent.
And you made a tactical change midway through the first half as well, and that seemed to work very effectively.
Yeah, we changed things around a little bit, and then second half we made another change. You know, I pushed Niko into midfield. Gary O'Neill had done excellent for us. I took Gary off and pushed Niko into a central position, and then obviously we brought Bobby on as well. Bobby was excellent when he came on. So it all worked out right on the night. You know, sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. It just went in on the night. Everything went well for us.
And a brave decision, leaving Ravel out for this one and bringing in Niko. I think it surprised a few people, but the performance of Niko Kranjcar was exceptional, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Ravel's a top player, you know, a young player, but Niko Kranjcar, he's, you know, I had him at Portsmouth, you know, he played in the cup-winning team for me. I took him to Tottenham, where he was excellent, you know, he played in the team at Tottenham. Tottenham sold him for £6 million or whatever out to the Ukraine. He's got, I don't know how many caps he's got. He's got an awful lot of caps for Croatia. So he's a top player. He's fantastic ability he's got, and I thought he showed that the other night.
And at the stage when it was still 1-0, I think the whole stadium held its breath when it looked like a penalty had been given by Mark Clattenburg, but in the end he was a booking for a dive. Did you fear a penalty had been given at that point?
Well, it was 1-0 then, Paul, to them, you know. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, it was 1-0 at that point. Sorry, did you fear it was going to be a second there? Did you fear it was going to be a penalty?
Yeah, I did. When he went down, I thought he'd give a penalty, but it was a blatant dive, wasn't it, you know? And so, and from then on, you know, if we'd gone 2 down, you're bang in trouble for sure. But we came back strong. I thought, you know, ours was a penalty, great run, bit of play there from Junior and Bobby. And a good penalty from Charlie, and then obviously Charlie getting the winner. And then in the last minute, their guys hit a shot, took a wicked deflection, and it's gone inches wide with Rob Strand, you know, well beat. So it's just a tense, exciting game, and you only have to see the crowd. They loved it. It was a great night for the fans. That was the most important thing for me. It is that the fans, you know, it's good for them. We're at Wembley now, and it's up to us to try to go there and try to you know, beat Derby and get back into the Premier League if we can. It's going to be another exciting game. They're a good team, Derby, and Steve's done a great job with them, but they're a good team as well. So it'll be a great game.
And did the passion of the fans, the noise levels of the QPR fans surprise you, because it was right up there? It was a special night.
Yeah, no, they were great, weren't they? You know, they came to get behind their team, and they did that, and they pushed us on when things were tight. They kept us going. You know, you need that. It's all about the fans, really. They are an extra man, and they were on the night without a doubt.
And I also noticed at the end of it all, when the players came out for a lap of appreciation, you came out and you acknowledged the fans, but you seem to be very mindful of the fact that nothing is won yet. No,
still got a job to do. Paul, you know, still got to go to Wembley and try to beat Derby. So, you know, that's what it's all about, really, getting back in the Premier if we can.
And of course, you brought Steve McLaren back into football at the start of this season. I imagine it's no surprise to you to see he's gone on and is doing well.
No, I mean, you know, Derby's a good club. It's a club that was in the Premier League for an awful long time. You know, when Jim Smith was there, they were always up there. So you know, got a great stadium. It's a big club, and Steve's gone there, and you know, Nigel Clough did a good job, and Steve's gone and took the job on and done a fantastic job there. You know, so you know, he'll have them well ready for the game, but we'll be ready as well.
Looking ahead to the final, you look at the 3 subs that you brought on Monday night. All 3 of them did well. Ravel Morrison, Bobby Zamora, Yoon Suk Young, they all came on and had an impact on the game.
Yeah.
You're going to have a few sleepless nights working out what your starting 11 is, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's, you know, I just hope everybody's fit and we can, you know, they've all done well. So you know, it's just the way it goes. You can't pick everybody, Paul. You know, you're going to have to disappoint someone or a few players. There's nothing I can do. You know, just got to pick a team to win the game.
And I would imagine the mood around the training camp in terms of the togetherness, it must be almost a million miles away from what it was like a year or 18 months ago.
Yeah, the lads are great. You know, we've had lots of strong performances. You know, the senior boys have been fantastic, and people like Joey Barton's been amazing, really, and you know, Clint and Danny, a lot of the experienced players, Rob Green. You know, Bobby's come on. You know, and the young players as well. You know, the younger ones have all responded to them. So let's hope we can do it one more time.
Okay. And just finally, Harry, I'm looking at a picture of you in a suit in the driving rain from Monday night. Is that suit beyond repair, or are we going to see that out in the final?
No, I'll have it cleaned and it'll be ready.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing that in the final. Harry, thanks very much for joining us.
Paul. Good night.
The thoughts there of Ars manager Harry Redknapp. the suit will be fine Saturday week. That's the important information.
That's a shame because a lot of the fans want that to be the competition prize next week.
Well, maybe we can have it after the final.
Yes,
he seems very relaxed, but also I suppose his experience coming through. He's not getting carried away at all.
There's a lot of hard work there between now and next week, and of course it's that team selection that's going to be so important.
Yeah,
we'll discuss that, won't we, on next week's show, which I think we can reveal now will be live from Wembley Stadium.
Live from Wembley Stadium, and we're going to be joined by
Alejandro Fowler.
Alejandro Fowler will be joining us live at Wembley Stadium next Thursday, 7 till 8, London Calling. So that'll be well worth tuning into.
Just a point on the competition. A couple of people were saying, is that the one he wore with no number on the back? And it is, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We've only shown the front of the moment.
Yeah, I do apologise.
It's the no number shirt.
It is the no number shirt that Charlie was wearing on Monday night when he nodded home.
Nodded? How do you nod home a penalty?
Sorry.
When he nodded home that penalty.
Yes, obviously he played a different skill of football than we do.
I'm not talking about the penalty. I meant to say prodded home
Prodded
because it was
home.
the second.
Okay.
And we've even got a bit of authenticness there. We've got a bit of mud there in the corner. That's what we like to see. So that is up for grabs. If you just joined us, Charlie Austin's match shirt that he prodded home our winner against Wigan on Monday night. To win it, all you have to do is tell us, did his penalty go to the keeper's right or to the keeper's left on Monday night? Was it to the keeper's right or to the left? Tweet us using hashtag LCI and right or left. And at the end of the show, we will pick a winner at random, and it will be personally signed by Mr. Austin just for you.
Can you imagine, had he not been injured, how many goals he'd have knocked up this season?
I mean, we were discussing it again in the office this week, weren't we? And I stand by. I honestly think if he'd have stayed fit, we would have got automatic.
Yes.
I do, because he missed a third of the season. He scored 20 goals.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, he didn't score for his first 6
I know,
in the league.
It is quite incredible. Jamie joins us now. Jamie, would we have got automatic promotion if Charlie had stayed fit?
Oh, I don't know, really. It's impossible to say. And you know what? That's no different.
That's the lack of enthusiasm we were hoping for, Jamie, eh? I was expecting, yes,
well,
definitely.
You know what, Derby, Leicester and Burnley were very, very good, and I think Leicester beat us when I think they both beat us when Charlie was playing, didn't they? So who knows?
That's a very good point. But absolutely kill the enthusiasm here at Loftus Road.
So what are we calling for?
Thanks for your call, Jamie. Sorry, Jamie. What was your point? Oh, I think we've
upset Jamie.
We've cut Jamie off because he didn't.
No, you haven't. I'm
no, you're here.
Hello, Jamie.
What's your point, mate?
Another point, really. I just want to say that I think the fans at the away leg should get mentioned, because our support up there on Friday night was, in my opinion, sensational. I mean, it was probably the best joint best away support I've ever been in.
Fantastic.
The other one was Chelsea away last season.
Yeah, we mentioned that on Monday's show. How good the fans were. They were absolutely excellent.
But yeah, a valid point. More than 3,000 going up. Difficult in terms of travel arrangements. Certainly if you're getting back via train.
Yeah, but the support they gave was just, Monday followed on from Friday in terms of vocal backing the team on. I think it made a huge difference.
Well, at times it sounded like a home game, didn't it?
Draw at Wigan.
Sorry.
I think our support up there got us a draw at Wigan.
I think you're probably right. How big an impact do you think the fans had on Monday night as well?
I don't think Wigan had a chance against that. I really don't. I mean, it was sensational. I mean, look, I haven't heard many of the interviews from the players and stuff because I've been working and that, but you've been saying they've been talking about it, and these boys have played, they've played at some of the biggest grounds in the country. They're, hardened veterans, some of them internationals. But I don't think I've ever been in an atmosphere like Monday night. I really don't.
And an important point as well, Jamie, having gone 1 down after 9 minutes, that sort of thing can easily kill an atmosphere, can't it? But the QPR fans didn't allow that to happen.
No, when I tell you something else, even after 69, 70 minutes when we were still losing 1-0 and we were still behind the team, I think if we had lost 1-0, you know what, they would have got a major round of applause. I thought that was by far and away our best performance of the season. I mean, Kranjcar, he rolled back the years, didn't he?
Yeah, he was sensational, wasn't he?
Barton, they all were. Hoyler, there's something that I haven't seen mentioned, actually, about 5 minutes before the end of extra time, where they were breaking down the Ellerslie Road stand side, which is where I sit, and Hoyler went into the sliding tackle.
Yeah.
That summed the whole night up for me. I haven't seen that. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, down our right-hand side, their left-hand side. And I know exactly the point.
It was sensational. I think the last 5-6 games that he played in the season,
subbed most of them. I think he's been getting better every game, and I think he will be a secret weapon at Wembley. Because, you know, he was overrated, and now I think he's underrated, and I think he's going to do the business. Hopefully he'll start, we'll see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. There's a selection dilemma for Harry Redknapp, that's for sure.
He got it right both matches, didn't he, though?
So,
he did, yeah.
And also, I think his experience with the subs was fantastic. I mean, I think every decision he made in the playoffs was the right decision. And also a decision, Harry Redknapp. A lot of decisions most people wouldn't have made.
Yeah, well, that's exactly
his experience of being the manager. That's one thing he's good at.
It's a brave decision. Like I say, to drop Ravel Morrison, that is a very brave decision. It probably surprised a lot of people, but ultimately it proved a crucial decision and the correct decision because of the impact Niko Kranjcar had on the game.
Yeah, I think play O'Neill twice. I mean, I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Yeah, no.
I didn't. I probably wouldn't have picked O'Neill, but he was fantastic. I think both games.
Yeah, a far from toothless display from Gary O'Neill. What's your prediction? What's your prediction for the final?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. You know what? I think Derby might be a bit overconfident, and I think that will play into our hands. I mean, I hate making predictions. I really do. But you know what? With Harry making the right decisions, our big game players in the team, and we've seen their big game players. I think I think we'll win.
Fingers
I really
crossed.
do. I think we'll win. But they're favourites. I think they're favourites, but they're inexperienced. I mean, it's impossible to call. I do think it's one of the best playoff matchups for a long, long time.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a great match.
It's going to be very, very tight, isn't it? Listen, Jamie, thanks very much for your call. Appreciate your comments.
Cheers.
The thoughts there of Jamie, and he makes a very good point. On Friday night, the atmosphere from the QPR fans was incredible.
But don't you want to go in, though, into the game? I'd rather go into the final as the underdogs.
Yeah, and I think we are. You look at the bookies, and we are slight
and they're probably
underdogs.
doing us a favour.
And if you look at the majority of games this year, regardless of our form, we've generally been favourites, taking aside the top two that we played against.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. There's nothing in it. And I think we spoke to Steve McLaren afterwards, didn't we, down the tunnel? And he said as much. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a tight game.
Yeah,
obviously they've beaten us once. We've beaten them once. So,
but it's going to be an amazing. I don't know. Wikipedia.
Is there any reason why you're shouting?
I'm not shouting. Am I shouting?
Yeah, you are.
Always am I shouting? In Wikipedia, in the Football League playoffs, it's got QPR Derby in the playoffs, and QPR dwarfed by Leyton Orient and Brentford.
Is that what it says?
Yes.
Don't believe everything you see on Wikipedia.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Absolutely incredible. Well, he alluded to it there, the performance of Junior Hoylett. It was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
It was. He's been playing very well, Junior.
And to be fair, it was he kept going because he was going through stage. He was giving up possession and he was getting frustrated. I think the fans getting a little bit frustrated because you know what he's capable of. But he just kept going.
One thing I will say of him, the last two games, sometimes the accusation of Junior is that he hides, but he always wanted the ball. He didn't duck a challenge. He was winning headers. He won a number of headers. And like your man there, I think it was Jamie said, didn't he? He was getting winning the penalty there, but your man Jamie said about him with 5 minutes of extra time to play, and he wins that excellent sliding tackle. And even at the end, when we cleared the ball from the final corner, he's the one hacking it away. He had a really good game, but I don't think you could say anybody had a poor game. Over the two legs, really. Over the two legs, everybody stood up to be counted.
It's almost difficult to pick a man of the match because they were all almost on the same level.
You know, this is, again, you have this man of the match and Charlie. You know, had it not been for Charlie, we wouldn't be going to Wembley. He scored a brace. However, you know, it's always the goal scorers that become man of the match. But then you've got to look at that. We're not going to pick one out, but I will. Joey Barton. If you'd have watched Joey, and you did watch Joey, that 420 minutes, he did not give up. He didn't let up 1 minute. He wanted that as much as anybody else. And you wonder, you know, why do these players not always become, man of the match? Nedum, he was phenomenal. And the player that I thought was absolutely fantastic, and his season has got better and better as we've come towards the end, is Bobby Z.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, we haven't really mentioned Bobby Zamora. He came on in the 65th minute and played a crucial role in winning the penalty in the 72nd minute.
He does seem to be a super sub, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Absolutely. His impact
35 minutes, bring him on, and he's shown it quite a few times this season.
Yeah, and also it's fair to say that his relationship with the QPR fans hasn't always been great, and there's a bit of a dip, but he's come back and the fans have really got behind him.
This is the whole thing,
and he's just grown and grown.
A couple of months ago, when the fans were cheering, they were really jeering, but now they're cheering with a purpose and a meaning. And I think he feels it. Yeah, it has.
Yeah. And that goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about the impact the fans can have. It's clear.
Yeah,
as a perfect example.
And he nearly scored a winner himself with the lob as well.
Just wouldn't quite sit for him because I think he, in an ideal world he'd have probably looked to lace it and put his foot through the ball. But again, that was he outmuscled 3 defenders to get in front there. So he's playing. I think Harry said he's playing as well as he's played during his time at QPR, and he's as fit as he's been at QPR. So,
well, he's not showing an injury now, is he? Before he used to show that there was a little bit of pain, and now if he is in pain, he's hiding it really well.
Maybe at this stage of his career, an impact sub is a role for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think you can start him, can you really?
No.
I mean, I don't see that as
and I don't think he will start.
And he wouldn't want to start at Wembley. So. It's not the place to start.
No. The reaction at the end we've spoken about already, but the reaction of the board as well. You could see how much it meant to Tony Fernandes and all the shareholders up in the director's box, couldn't you?
Well, the pictures show it all, doesn't it, really? What it means, 12 months ago we were suffering relegation, and there was that element of concern. Are we going to do a Wolves? Are we going to do a Manchester City and dip right the way down? Because we have done it in the past. And I think the board have been fantastic this last season. I mean, they've consolidated. They've had a plan, and that plan is beginning to work, and they deserve every success, as do the fans.
Well, I think for the supporters deserve it more than anyone because they've waited 28 years to get back there. But for Tony and Ruben and Kamaruddin, as well as Amit and Lakshmi as well, they've had some hard times during their period here at the club, and a day out at Wembley. With 37,000 odd QPR supporters backing them, you can see the look on their face there, what it means.
Yeah.
And I love that photo at the end of all 5 of them together with "We're going to Wembley" flag. It was really special. But having spoken to them since and seen their tweets, etc., again, we haven't done anything yet.
No, exactly.
Let's not get carried away.
We've extended our season.
Yeah,
where everyone else is on from holiday.
We're here now, would we?
It's great. I mean,
we'd be at home and you'd be having a cup of coffee and just about to do your fake tan.
Yes.
But we're here.
Okay, we also spoke with Clint Hill this week, the R's captain, and here's what he had to say looking back on Monday night's win.
Clint, firstly, looking back on Monday night's terrific result, how did it feel to be a part of
that? It was magnificent. I mean, to do it the way we did it was outstanding. Obviously nerve-wracking, but to show the desire, commitment and togetherness that probably a lot of people have questioned over the season. What was magnificent. I think everybody's seen how close we were together, and to get that kind of result against a good Wigan team who made it very difficult for us, who were dangerous as well. It was, take a lot of confidence from that.
Did you fear the worst, particularly when Perch scored so early?
Yeah, of course you do. You always feel like the first goal is very important. But to say that, I think the lads responded straight away. I think for most of the rest of the half, I thought we dominated. A little bit unlucky with certain occasions and chances, deflections. And we just felt that if we kept going in that kind of vein, then hopefully it'll fall for us, and lucky enough it did.
You've been here for 4 years, you've seen plenty of special atmospheres at Loftus Road. Where did that one rank?
Yeah, it's got to be up there. I mean, I was on the losing side, I think 11 years ago when I was playing for Oldham against QPR, and I can remember that atmosphere being very, very special. Chelsea, a few games we played that have been right up there. But yeah, Monday was special. When there's something on it, and when there's something needs to be done, I mean, you can always rely on the fans to get behind you.
The fans were certainly all together, and it was incredible the unity that was existing on the pitch as well. Not just the playing staff, but the coaching staff, and it was really noticeable after 90 minutes and during the break in extra time when you all huddled together.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't for show. We've kind of been doing that for the last, 3 to 4 weeks. In the dressing room, getting all together as a team, and as a staff was there just as important, and just relaying the message of what it is to play for this club and what we need to do as a team and for each other, which is being selfless, being committed, being sacrifice things to get where you want to go. And I thought we'd done that in abundance on Monday.
What sort of thing is said in that huddle in the heat of the moment?
Yeah, probably can't really say it on there.
Are you going to Steve Gerrard me? None of your business.
You can't, can you? No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. It's like there's a few things said in there that probably should remain private, and obviously for censorship as well, probably. But yeah, I think you can tell from the outside looking in what it means.
And also, talking about the substitution, when the substitution occurred, you coming off for Yoon Suk Young coming on, you ran off the pitch after giving the captain's armband to Joey, and Pip was saying, well, he's not injured, but it was a tactical substitution, and interestingly, it seemed to be a substitution you were involved in conversation with Harry Redknapp prior to it happening.
I mean, it's something that we've talked about. We thought maybe with the way the game was going, we spoke at half time that down that left side, I don't think they were really tracking anybody. And to get somebody on who's a bit more adventurous in that position, like Young, who's got the pace to get there and get back, and who's more comfortable in that position, was probably be a big bonus for us. So we spoke about it at half time. We said we'd give it 5 minutes, see if they change shape. They didn't. We thought it would be an angle that we could exploit, and yeah, lucky enough it did. And I thought he was magnificent on the night.
And an incredibly selfless act for yourself.
That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? You've got to be selfless. You've got to sacrifice maybe yourself for the better of the team. And that's what it's about. There's no individual bigger than the team. And that's what we've tried to reiterate throughout the past few weeks, you know. If things need doing, you've got to do it. No regrets. And lucky enough, it worked out for us.
And there were celebrations of sorts at the final whistle, celebrating that we've got to Wembley. But it was interesting, as you led the team out for that lap of appreciation towards the fans, you turned to your teammates and said, we've still got one game to go, we've won nothing yet.
No, it's important that you don't get too carried away. You know what I mean? You've got through to Wembley, but there's still one big, massive game to play. So you can't get carried away and celebrate too much. I think it was more of appreciation to show our support to the fans for what they've done for us this season. And we've enjoyed the last 24, 36 hours, but now it's down to what happens on Saturday. So game face is back on Monday, and prepare right.
And a big role for the fans at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, when you think 17, 18,000 there, double that at Wembley, what kind of atmosphere and how intimidating they can make it for Derby would be special. And yeah, I fully expect them to be in full voice again, to get behind the lads, because once they get behind you, it can raise your game 10-15%, definitely.
The thoughts there of Clint Hill, and I'll tell you what is really interesting. I don't know how often it happens for a player to be involved in a game of that magnitude and effectively organise his own substitution to hook himself. He admitted at half time, him and Harry spoke about it, and they felt that they could exploit that left side more, and Clint said Yoon was more capable of it than I would be, so we said we'd give it 5 minutes, check that they hadn't changed their setup. As soon as they realised they hadn't, Clint hooked himself, and well, he didn't hook himself in conjunction with Harry, but you could see Clint and Harry just before Clint was substituted. Clint and Harry were in conversation about doing it.
Yeah, it was an incredible act. And it worked, didn't it? Because
it really did work.
You could argue Yoon was a bit unlucky not to have been involved in both games. Started both games, because certainly at Barnsley, final away game of the final game of the league season, he was excellent. I remember the game he played up at Middlesbrough earlier in the year when he was very good as well. But Captain Clint led by example, didn't he?
And I tell you, that is going to be one of the big decisions that Harry Redknapp has to make with regards to the back four. Whether he starts with Clint at left back, you assume he's going to stick with Dunn and Anura in the middle, with Simpson on the right. Does he start with Clint at left back, or does he go with Yoon?
I mean, that is one of the most difficult decisions, because you've got the experience.
I mean, for me, he must start with Clint. I would have thought it would start with Clint, and then the legs of Yoon on a big pitch, depending on how the game goes in the latter stages.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very difficult.
I wouldn't want to be Harry in the next week.
It's going to be a very, very difficult.
He probably wouldn't want to be you, to be fair.
We said that, yes.
With regards to
funny guy.
With regards to the injuries, I know there've been a few questions about that. Obviously, Niko Kranjcar was struggling with injury. Gary O'Neill, where he had his tooth popped out, What's the latest that we know?
Well, Niko's fine. Spoke to him on Wednesday morning after his call up to the Croatia World Cup squad. He said he's fine. He's looking forward to it. 7th outing at Wembley it'll be.
Amazing.
And I think he said to me he's won five of the 6. I think he's only lost once to England. So he's fine. Gary O'Neill's fine, fit to resume full training. Was at a dentist yesterday for a few hours, and he's going to have treatment, dental surgery for the next 3 or 4 months to get it right. But we'll be fine. And the only other one that's missing is obviously Armand Traore. But he was in light training today, and I think they're fairly confident he'll be fit. Ali Fowling's back in with the main group now, which is good. Matty Phillips still a few weeks away, but good to see Ali Fowling back joining in with the main group. Would a final come to him for him? You would have thought so, given he wouldn't have played a competitive fixture. But great to see him in amongst the lads, because obviously he's as popular with his fellow teammates as he is with the supporters.
Yeah, and it'd be great to get his thoughts right here on London Calling next week, live from Wembley Stadium, as we look ahead to the Wembley Showdown against Derby County on Saturday week. So plenty of bits and pieces going on, and it now just revolves around what team Harry picks, and there are key decisions that have to be made all over the park. Brian now joins us.
What a good name. What a good name.
We'll get the thoughts of Brian on team selection in a moment. Brian, thanks for joining us. What's your point?
I'm just really ringing about on the Monday night, the fantastic win. But I wanted to give a lot of credit to the club for helping create a great buzz themselves. I mean, the fans were brilliant and amazing, but I thought the club's use of social media and just the effort they went to help create that buzz themselves, I think, was brilliant, particularly for the kids. And that's a night they'll never forget. And I think they were all sort of quite quick to criticise the club when things don't go quite right. But I thought they were spot on Monday night, and they played a big part with the behind the scenes team and the people there on the night. So just a magical night.
Thanks very much for those comments. And Brian, in terms of the atmosphere, how big a part do you think it played in the victory?
I think it played a massive part. I mean, to be a footballer, most of us have never been lucky enough to play at that level. But it's got to help when you've got people sort of cheering you on and spurring you on. And I think what was great about the spirit was, to go one down after 8 minutes, it could easily have gone flat. And instead of that, they kept on going. They kept it electric, and I think it was really, really important, and drove those players on. You could see how much they were enjoying it, and Rob Green's reaction when Austin scored the winner, was fantastic. Great to see some players buying into it and joining in with the fans.
And it seems to have gone almost full circle. We were speaking earlier to Harry Redknapp with regards to how together the group are now, compared with 12 or 18 months ago. As a supporter, is that something that you can see?
I think it's evident. I mean, the togetherness in the team is almost palpable. You can see that they enjoy sort of playing with each other, and I've joked with people that Barton and Austin make a great couple. You see them in photos together in the wake of that, but all season, and they just seem like that people that actually get on. And the last year in the Premier League wasn't much fun, and you could sort of see what was going on in the team, but there seems to be a togetherness there, and regardless of what happens with Derby, that togetherness will take us forward next season, no matter what division we're in.
Okay, and thanks very much for your call, Brian. Just before you go, in terms of team selection for the final on Saturday week, would you make any changes to the starting 11 from the Wigan game?
I don't know. I think Young may deserve a chance. I mean, I think it's a bit of a game of chess, really, because I think you've got to try and suss out what team Derby will put out and how they'll set up. And I think Young has played well every game I've seen him in. He's played very well, particularly he most of his chances have come away from home, and he's done us proud there. I think Zamora has been brilliant recently, but I think he's an impact player that has to come on rather, just like Monday night. But otherwise, I think why break a winning formula? I think Harry's he got it spot on Monday.
Brilliant. Listen, Brian, thanks very much for your call. Appreciate your comments.
No, brilliant. Thanks ever so much.
The thoughts there of Brian Holm there with regards to the club's social media activity. Obviously a big fan. And now, as we were saying,
just quickly, a lot of people are talking about this article that was in the Standard tonight about Yoon Suk-yeon and potential unavailability for the final.
Why is he potentially unavailable?
Obviously, he's been called up into the South Korea squad for the World Cup, and you don't get dispensation. You get dispensation if they're involved in the Champions League final, but this is seen as a rest week ahead of joining up ahead of the World Cup. We have asked for special dispensation, which, as things stand, has been knocked back. But I think there have been further conversations in the last 24, 48 hours, and I think there's room for optimism that he will be involved in the squad for the final. But as soon as we know that, obviously we'll make it official. But as things stand, it's in limbo.
Okay, so he could...
That was Joe Hilton who brought that up, by the way.
Okay, he could effectively be unavailable for the final, depending on what happens with conversations. But fingers crossed, we can.
He wants to
sort that
He
out,
wants to stay. I know that for a fact.
I'm sure he does. And it's amazing, isn't it? When he first joined the club, no one really knew much of him.
Not at all.
And it was a case of. Is it a case of for selling shirts? And he was interviewed for the Insider magazine, and that was put to him, and he said, "Well, who's going to buy my shirt? No one knows who I am."
And now look at it. We're talking about him starting at Wembley.
All QPR fans know who he is now because he has had a massive impact whenever he has played. And
just a word, actually, we're talking about Korea, aren't we? And just a word on Ji-Sung Park, who obviously retired this week. I know there are QPR fans that were heavily critical of Ji during his time here and the reasons we signed him. But one thing I will say, me and you had the honour of dealing with him throughout his time here, as humble a professional as you're ever likely to meet. And given his global appeal, and he is, when you do go out to Asia and you see everything that surrounds him, he's on the same pedestal as David Beckham would be in the UK and in Europe. And fair play to G. He's had a very good career, and we certainly, everyone at the club, wishes him well for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, if I had the craziness surrounding me that G had surrounding him, I would be massive time.
Yeah, you'd be milking it for more massive time than you already are.
Even more so. Okay, 5 minutes or so to go of this London Call-In show. We've got just before we do the QPR stat of the week, actually, just an update regarding where we are with tickets for the final. What's the latest?
just shy of 17,000 prior to us coming on air, so it's probably above 17,000 now. But members can guarantee their tickets tomorrow by booking. So expect that number to rise, and I think everyone's fairly confident we'll sell another 20,000 and get to that 37,000 mark.
And I know Derby are selling well as well, so. Yes. It's looking.
It's going to be a full house.
It's interesting, isn't it? We're talking about here where we get maybe 17,500, 18,000 here on a full house, we get to Wembley, and the chances are we'll sell our 35, 36, 37,000 seats, which does give the argument definitely that we do need to move and we do need to go to a bigger stadium because, all right, we may not get it 35.
We need to retain this. We need to retain
it's the acoustics. It's down to the acoustics. Got to bring the right people in and it'll work. But
just touching on that, the survey, which has been, I think we're over 7,000 QPR fans now filled that in, the new stadium survey. I think you've got until 5 o'clock tomorrow. I think it's 5. It might be 4. Yeah, I'm getting a nod behind the camera to say it's 5. So if you haven't filled that in, go to the website between now and 5 o'clock tomorrow and have your say, because like the board have always said, they do want impact. They do want input from the supporters, and that's a great opportunity to do so.
Okay, and before we go, the all-important QPR stat of the week.
Charlie Austin's brace against Wigan on Monday took his total goals for the season to 20, the best return from a Rangers player since Andy Thompson bagged 21 goals in the 2001-2002 campaign. 2 or more goals a week on Saturday would see Austin become the highest Rangers goal scorer since Les Ferdinand got 26 goals 19 seasons ago.
So he just needs to score a hat-trick on Saturday week, just to confirm that. He needs 2 to be the top goal scorer since Sir Les of Ferdinand 19 seasons ago. OK, you just saw a glimpse of it there. This is the very shirt Charlie Austin was wearing when he prodded home our winner against Wigan on Monday night. And we have one lucky winner. Firstly, the answer to the question. Where did Charlie Austin's penalty go? Here's the answer.
Charlie Austin keeps Queen's Park Rangers season alive. Probably the biggest pressure penalty he's faced in his career.
Okay, so there you go. It was, of course, to the keeper's right, and we had many a right answer, and the winner is Chris Hermitage. Congratulations, Chris, at Chris Hermitage. If you tweet at AdamHolm86, and we'll organise this fine shirt for you to be personally signed by Charlie Austin with a message of your choice, which I'd imagine is a fantastic keepsake for you. So many congratulations to Chris Hermitage. Right now, just before we go, details regarding next week's show. Ian Taylor.
You're asking me, are you?
Yeah, on the spot.
Well, we're at Wembley. We're at Wembley throughout the week, aren't we? A couple of times next week, as we look. I mean, we'd be mad not to take advantage of it being on our doorstep. Really, I think as the crow flies, and we
haven't taken advantage of it for 28 years.
No,
so
the last time was the millennium.
Let's pack it all into 1 week. So we'll be there Monday. I think we're going to do some filming there Monday, and then we'll be there Thursday night, 7 till 8. I think usual time. Alejandro Fowling joins us, and a lot of people, just while we're talking about Wembley, a lot of people are asking about the walk to Wembley.
Right.
There's a lot of fans that are lobbying for some kind of organised walk to Wembley. We're actually on a conference call tomorrow with Dan Rutherford, who's one of the supporters who's really pushing this hard. And
it's been done previously, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been done.
Yeah.
I
I didn't do the 67 one, but it has been. It's a QPR tradition.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people doing that. So we'll aim to support that as best we can. Hopefully incorporate QPR in a community trust as well. Hopefully raise a few pennies for them. But yeah, more details to follow. But yeah, like you said, next Thursday, London Calling, 7 to 8 with Alejandro Fowling live from Wembley.
Great stuff, and potentially we'll have more information on that walk to Wembley in next Thursday's show. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll do prediction time next week when we'll all have butterflies in our stomach and it'll be absolutely horrific once again. Thanks very much for joining us. You've been watching London Calling, brought to you in association with your club.
Good night.